Okay, so on to stage four of Willmott and Young's symmetrical family prediction, if you like. Okay, so stage three was talking about the symmetrical family, as we know, and that's where Willmott and Young argued we were. Okay, that's where they said, yeah, this is present day, and this is where we think we are. Okay, but they did actually share a prediction of where they thought stage four was gonna lead us. Okay, so they were making a prediction about the future of family life, and it's worth noting this was done in 1973. Okay, so at the end of the video, it's worth noting the fact that they've made a prediction, and well, in my humble opinion, I'm not too sure this has actually happened. Okay, but some families would probably disagree. So anyway, moving on. So the principle of stratified diffusion, that is a long set of words there, okay, but it is a very simple thing. Okay, so the idea is that whatever family types are going on at the top of the stratification system, so the most top class of top class people, whatever their family looks like, then that is going to trickle down, and eventually every family will start trying to replicate that. Okay, so stratified diffusion. If you do science, you'll know about the idea of diffusion. Okay, it's the idea that something will spread gradually but consistently, and eventually populating the entire sort of area, if you like. Okay, so very much it starts at the top and trickles down to every social class, every ethnicity, and so on and so forth. Okay, remember, these are functionalists. Okay, they're very idealistic. Okay, it doesn't work that way in reality, but this was their idea. Okay, so they looked at the managing directors, the people at the top of companies, and sort of really high up on that stratification system, and they looked at how their families were structured, and they found that they were very work centered, okay, rather than home centered. And equally, they actually found that they had regressed slightly, and the wife was wholly responsible for the home and the children. Okay, with the husband out there working at usually quite a high wage, naturally, because they're a managing director. Okay, so they thought that they were actually heading somewhat backwards. Okay, something that Delphi and Leonard would largely not look forward to, because obviously being feminists, that's not great for the woman. So that was their prediction for the society of tomorrow. Okay, so the theory has been criticized by feminists, as I've already mentioned. Okay, but they've equally said that there's little evidence of symmetry in modern day society. So going back to stage three, the whole idea of the symmetrical family, feminists argue that that's a very naive statement. Okay, and that's again something that we can say about functionalism in general. It's a very naive and idealistic theory. Okay, but equally, there's little evidence of stage four coming around as well. Okay, so this idea of a regression into this managing director family. Okay, so it's not necessarily happening. That's what they're basically saying. Okay, so there's a lot to criticize here. Okay, in terms of methodology, okay, the first box here outlines that you should highlight what method they used. Okay, but you can see here they used a bit of secondary research with historical research and some social surveys as well. Okay, with a reasonable sample size, but arguably kind of small. Okay, so that does come up, worth noting that. So moving on to some positives. The idea is they do acknowledge that the family has gone through a period of change. Okay, and that cannot be disputed. Okay, families have changed over the last 100, 200 years. Okay, that cannot be disputed. Equally, it does attempt to predict the next stage. Okay, that's something that can at least be given to them. They have tried. Okay, but whether it's occurred or not, that's open for debate. It does acknowledge the increasing involvement of men in the upkeep of a household. So Delphi and Leonard didn't actually note that. And if you'd watched the screencastify about Delphi and Leonard, that's one of the main criticisms of their theory, is that they don't acknowledge the fact that men are taking a more central role. Okay, and equally, something else to note is that they do actually use practical research rather than just drawing their theories on the work of other sociologists. Okay, so again, another thing that can be given to them. Okay, I've just noticed that I'm running out of time, so I will continue with this in a third part.